Yes, I like old things. The new style I don't like. Hello, everybody on YouTube. I hit the start button mid drifting conversation, so we're just going to go with it. I want to talk to you. This will probably be a little bit of a ramble, but talk to you some about head movement and foot movement, that little slide of the ankle sideways when you're going to throw hooks, and it could be the other way on the other side. When you go into a boxing gym today, you're going to be taught to do that. When you went into the boxing gym in the 1940s, you were taught to do that. That doesn't make it right all the time. When you get into individual training and learning, you got to promote your strengths while minimizing your weaknesses, and always be working on your weaknesses as well as your strengths. You got to maximize your strengths and try to maximize your weaknesses. But if a guy has trouble fighting on what the reporters all just recently over the past 8 years or so labeled, he's fighting off his rear foot. If you got a guy and he don't fight well backing up, maybe you need to teach a guy how to fight going forward. So it's different strokes for different folks, and never lose sight of that. Never lose sight. The surefire way to spot a bad boxing trainer, as I call them, some people say teacher, some people say coach, whatever you want to call anybody, but the quickest way to spot one that's not that good might be able to help you out in the amateurs, help you win some tournaments and whatnot, but is the guy that can't veer off of it's A, B, C, and that's all you can do. And some guys you go A, D, B, C. Another guy you go A, B, D, C. And you got to figure that out, and a good trainer will help you do that. And so things you may see somebody do may not be normal to you. We send punches out with all the leverage in the world we can get, so therefore we don't have that quick movement of the ankle. You know, your foot's here, and you take your rear foot and cock it back this way going this way, and opposite going the other. You might from time to time see it done around here, but it's not because we're sitting there practicing it and it's the end all be all. Another thing you won't see around here is you won't see minimal head movement because it's not what we do. Excuse me, I'm trying to get down here in a bag. These gloves I'm going to show you are huge. So these are what Joe uses and what I would have used on the heavy bag had we had these things, and maybe they've been around forever and a day. But I didn't have access to these gloves, but these big Muay Thai type twin specials, Joe's used these for 2.5 years now. I condition them. I put a little bit of oil on them every now and again. we're in Colombia, so I don't have, I'm sure there's saddle oil around here, specific leather oil, but I don't know where to get it and wouldn't know how to ask for it. So I use coconut oil and just take and blot it on a cloth or paper towel and just rub it in the glove. And these gloves have really worked out well. We went through a bunch of bags, but not a bunch of gloves that we use. And we've been through a bunch of gloves, but these things have held up. These things are like pillows. But the thing I wanted to show you here is, I'm going to stick this up to my head. You see how wide this glove is? It's a big, wide glove. And half these guys, and this would be something normal, it would not be an irregularity, it would be a normality. But that is, when you move your head, you can move the distance of this glove, and we do that, but mainly we move the distance of twice these gloves. And in the style that we use and what we're comfortable with and what fits the strengths that Joe has, for example, the other boys that I've trained and worked with around here, I haven't got them to get into the style that I do with Joe, but I hadn't run into iron and concrete bodied guys. They may have looked like they've had the iron body, but they haven't had the strength of it that Joe's got. So we do things a little different. But with what I showed Joe and have consistently drilled and impressed upon Joe is that when you move the head, and there again, you'll see a lot of what we do is two of these. You'll see the last heavy bag short, Joe's giving a left hook as he's jumping back. That's by design. He was getting out of the little combination that he was hitting the heavy bag with, and he's jumping back. We do that. Sometimes we jump in. Joe will throw his version of a gazelle type punch, but he don't throw it like Floyd Patterson, because that does not work for him. So it's different variances, but he does throw one. Anyway, a lot of the head movement we do is there's a lot more movement and width of movement, and it is designed to get somebody to really not even throw a punch at you, but it's designed to get out of the way of a punch. But it's also designed when you got head movement going constant and you've got a lot more length and width to the movement of your head instead of just this much like a lot of you guys are being taught today, like everybody's being taught today, as a matter of factly. Joe will move over a foot, maybe a foot and a half, and he'll strike. He'll strike in that movement, or as soon as that movement's there, he'll strike out of that achieved head movement. So we do things a little different, and I do want to stir the pot with people to impress on them. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and if you only going in and getting in the assembly line boxing, and you want to knock around the amateurs for a while, it'll probably work good for you. It should work good for you. There's no extreme levels in amateur boxing like there is in the professional ranks, and it's because of the everybody doing everything about the same way. So, I put out in a video the other day. I lived the Soviet era. I lived where our teams were boxing the Soviet teams. Our teams were boxing great Cuban teams. I was there. I wasn't on the team boxing, but I was there. I was at a lot of these events. I was around a lot of Cuban team fighters and U.S. fighters back in the day when the U.S. had great boxing teams. We had good boxing teams. And the Cubans had a tremendous boxing team. Probably the best teams that's ever been assembled per population capita of countries has been several of these Cuban boxing teams for about a decade and a half. They're drawing off of 6 million people and we're putting out great teams. And they owned the heavyweight division and the super heavyweight division for quite a while. So, but there's not much difference. But I hear today, this Soviet style. And I still do not, I can't answer what the Soviet style would be to you. I look and I see guys speaking in Russian, and they're explaining our Soviet style. And I'm like, I don't know nothing about that. And I still don't. And the way they're promoting this Soviet bloc style of the 1960s, 70s, and 80s was not Soviet bloc country fighting in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm sorry, but it's just not. So you need to educate yourself in this sport as well. You just do. There's a lot of ego in this sport. I got one. I've got a big ego. You can't be in the fight game and not be very confident in what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. A lot of indecision breeds getting one knocked out. A lot of self-doubt breeds loss, and you got to walk bold. But what I'm seeing in a lot of the boxing today is I'm seeing that everybody and their uncle over there are online trainers, for example. For all you would think, and I'll just use the U.S. and Great Britain as an example, but you would think that in the United States and in Great Britain, if you were in a smaller town that had 20,000 people, there'd be 15 boxing gyms there because there's that many trainers for the population of the people. It's just everybody's a boxing coach and a trainer. And there's a lot of things going around, and as a young boxer, you just got to find what is going to fit with you, and hopefully you'll be able to seek out somebody that'll be able to spot things that will work for you and not put you through the assembly line and make you a way better fighter than a boxer fighter than you ever thought that you could be. So I was going to talk about several things, but I think this is enough. It's just a few things and of course I'm not putting any trainers down. I'm not downing anyone or what they do or how they teach or how they train or how they coach or whatever you want to call that today, whatever verbiage you want to use for it, or pronouns you want to attach to it or whatever. I'm not, none of that. I'm just saying, when I was younger, when I was around Ace Miller people that were around him, other people in Charlotte, in the Knoxville area right across the mountains there, and throughout the eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, that put out some good guys, put out trainers that worked with two world heavyweight champions. Out of that same system of guys that were interconnected there, having had learned from and been around a lot of those guys back so many years ago. One thing I know and I always saw was one guy come into the gym, it would be that was in that achievement and success could be spotted in, they'd do some extra work with. And if you had three in the gym, they were working different ways with all three guys. So guy one might be stressing and doing little tweaks and things with this guy. Guy two may be totally different in aspects of it, and guy three may have a variation of guy one and two. And I don't see that no more. I don't see that nowhere no more. But yet everybody's kind of portraying to be expert in what they're doing. So I really don't. We put some videos out here and there. It's not that I don't feel that we could teach people, because what we're doing is working great. It is that I keep everything close to the vest because I got Joe. And if we get another couple of guys that stick with it and can handle it consistently, maybe we'll have 2 or 3 guys. And I don't want to sit and put everything out on the table that we're doing. And none of the good guys are doing that. None of these good trainers, any of these big names, you never see them on there putting every single thing out. However, now that being said, there are several boxing coaches, teachers, trainers, however they choose to be, their verbiage to be, that are great. And we from time to time, and when I say time to time, I mean frequently, we go see what Kepner's doing over at Kepner Boxing. So if you go look up Kepner Boxing, great channel to watch. This guy is not putting out one size fits all. His dad was an excellent trainer. These guys worked with Muhammad Ali. They're in Georgia right now. I mean, this guy knows a lot more than I do. And he knows the fundamental thing that one size don't fit all. And there's more than one way to skin a cat. And he'll show you 10 ways till Tuesday of how to do it. And that's who you should be listening to, people like that. So a little shout out to Kepner Boxing over there. That guy's got it going on, and we see things frequently that Joe and I'll look at, and I'll be like, we got to try this thing over here, we got to try this thing over here. And these things have worked tremendously for us. They're little things that in that circle of people that Kepner comes off of, with that lineal stretch back decade after decade after decade, and that group that I didn't get in my group or missed or what have you. So and there's others all over the place, but 22-year-old guy's probably not going to be the guy that you need to be learning everything from. 33-year-old guy, you're getting there, they can motivate you, they can jump it to it. 43, 53, 63, that's the way to go. If you're listening, when you start seeing some gray, start taking in that knowledge, young person. Because although we get forgetful and can't remember what we ate this morning, this gets with everybody. With me, I'll say, hey, on Wednesday we all going to do this. Be ready for it. Wednesday comes in, this, hey, we thought we was going to do this. I'm like, was we? No, we ain't doing that. I got other plans. We're doing this other thing. And that can drive anybody crazy. And I tend to do that. And it does drive the guys crazy. But just get in, pick up all these little things that you can from what you see different guys doing. If you want to throw a ball like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Johnny Unitas, or Joe Montana, best be looking at these guys to see how they did it. And you emulate what they did and you go with that. So just thought I'd share that. Much love to everybody. Hope everybody has a wonderful Labor Day weekend. We love you. For those around that have us on their prayer stuff that they do, we thank you so much. And we pray for all you guys around here. We wish you success, happiness, and goodness, and Christ's protection. And I'll end this with this statement like I try to get out in every video. Around here, our King is Christ. That's first, foremost. Everything else is second, third, fourth, and 10th down the line. Although, keep in mind, we are not perfect around here. And that's why we're so thankful for the price that our King paid for us and our imperfection. So much love and a good week to you all.